I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone so genuinely for being here for our first full year. That's right, today is our anniversary of the Cinema Regulars channel. We've been going trucking along as hard as we can for a full year now. And we are just so glad to be here, so glad to be making these videos. Uh, Thank you guys so much. Gifted Isaac and myself a poster. We have all of our highlights on here, such as Godzilla -1, The Fall Guy, and Deadpool and Wolverine. But we also have our lowlights on here too, such as Madam Web, Borderlands, and Babes. A pretty cool memento. You'll be seeing this in the background of our videos from now on. But thank you again, guys. It's super awesome going to the movie theaters every other week, and it's super awesome coming on here to talk about them and share our opinions afterwards. So thank you. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome everyone to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name, and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now, first off, holy crap, you guys, what happened? Overnight, not even overnight, like in a matter of hours, I checked our subscriptions at work and I was at 116, and then literally 4 hours later I checked my phone again and we were at like 460. I don't know what happened, but welcome, guys.
Yeah, thank you,
Welcome.
guys. Like, dude, you texted me while I was like out drinking, and I looked at the thing, and I left my group of people I was with to be like, what the hell? Like, what happened? Like, thank you guys. By the way, we are so happy to have you guys here. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been going for that 500 subscriber mark for quite the past couple podcasts, and oh my gosh, dude, we had no idea we were gonna hit it anywhere near it.
It's within the realm of possibility. Once we get to 500 subscribers and we get our watch hours up or shorts views up as well, we can qualify for memberships, and we will be putting out for you guys for who get memberships. We are planning to do full movie commentary tracks, so you can play our track alongside the movie that you're watching. It's like you're watching the movie with us, listening to all our funny jokes, all our comments, this, that, and the other thing. And we might just have a new form of content coming to the channel fairly soon, so keep an eye out for that. But as for now, we are today looking at 3 pretty big movies from this year. We are looking at Alien Romulus, then moving on to the newest remake of The Crow, and then following it up with Blink Twice. So we got like a 3 for 3 on like thrillers here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's really cool that we have 3 separate thrillers, and they're all different. Because you have one that's like you have a sci-fi horror thriller, you have a supernatural thriller, supernatural action thriller, and then you have and then you have a psychological thriller on top of that, which is mystery psychological stuff. Like, it's very good.
So yeah. As always, guys, feel free to check the timestamps below to skip ahead to your favorite movie or just skip ahead to the rankings. But without further ado, Isaac, let us move on into Alien Romulus. Please take us away.
All right. Space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station.
That's for the new one, not the original.
That's for the new one. Yeah, I believe so. You know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm actually curious now. I need to know if the original Alien has a different one. What the original? Wow, it has significantly more actually.
Okay, it says, never mind.
Yeah, yeah, but that's still
you don't gotta do
really funny.
That. But it's around the same.
The only difference
that
between
could apply to either one is what that's saying.
Yeah, the only difference between between the two is that one of them they have to land on a planet to do this, whereas this one is just happening in space.
Yeah. So first things off the bat, this is taking place in between the first and second movies. I believe they mentioned that the original alien that was captured by the ship was the one that got blown out into space at the end of the first movie, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
they captured that one, made it reproduce, and then they were doing experiments on it or whatever. Then ran loose, and then started wreaking havoc throughout the station. I can't talk
yeah.
today. Anyways, so they find the space station, and that's where the whole thing goes down. I thought it was pretty okay. Okay, so there's a lot of discourse amongst the Alien movies, you know.
Yeah. This is
Isaac and I
actually
are
kind of.
Isaac.
Go ahead.
Isaac and I are both on the side of not really favoring Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Not big fans of those two.
But anyway, let's talk about the actual bit of this, though. The actual plot of the movie. This group of people, they're like, hey, there's this space station up above, this floating, just abandoned above us, and they have like those cryo sleep pods. And if we steal them, we can make it on our own to this far off system that you're trying to get to. And we need your robot to be able to get on here. And that's like it's a decent premise to get them onto that ship. Like there's a bit that I'm both happy and at the same time like I kind of wanted a little more about how they kind of just happened to stumble across this thing. Like that kind of seems what happened is they just stumbled across this thing and they're
They
like, let's do
detected
it.
it. They had like the technology
Yeah.
in their thing, and they, hey, there's a spaceship up there. It's got things.
But anyway,
Let's focus on the critiques of the movie.
yeah, okay. So first off, I want to talk about what they did right, alien wise.
Yes, please do.
This movie, first off, did something that hasn't really been done since the first movie. And it did it effectively, and that's they made it horror. They made it more leaning towards the horror than the sci-fi aspect. Which all of the alien
Yeah,
movies are like kind of thriller horror. Like there were moments in this that were genuinely terrifying, actually.
yeah.
Like
It was a lot
this,
darker than the other movies. The other ones were definitely, especially towards the end, like anything past. Like the first one was like a sci-fi horror. Second one was like a sci-fi action, and the rest were just sci-fi.
action,
That's
basically.
it. It was just
They're all pretty much
sci-fi.
action.
Barely any action. It was just mostly sci-fi. But this one,
Fair enough.
yeah, you're right. It did definitely go back to the horror aspect. I think. Oh, and like even in like the color palettes, right? So like all the other, like the first one, it was like black and green, right? Like black and
Yeah.
green dominated the color schemes.
Yeah.
After the second one, it was just mostly green.
Yeah.
Like you look at the scenes, they got like the Saw grunge kind of
Yeah.
tint to them. And then Prometheus, it was all like,
It was all kind
light
of like
blue, sci-fi, energy, light. This
yeah.
one, it's like pure black. It's like pure
Yeah.
black and like a piercing red. Like look at the poster. So like like even like colors and atmospheres, like it just really does return to horror again.
There
And
were
the
a
other
lot of
thing
moments.
that
Oh, go ahead.
the other thing that I think that they did smart, like again, that they haven't done in a long time, the alien was practical. That was practical effects. They didn't CGI an alien this time.
I mean, I think there were a couple of them CGI'd, wasn't there?
The
Either that
xenomorph, the xenomorph
yeah.
itself, the actual big black one. like that was hissing and drooling from the mouth with the little tiny mouth tongue.
Oh, you're
that was
talking like the
practical.
close-up shots.
Yeah, close-up shots. Yeah.
Oh
Certainly.
yeah, no, that was good. Yeah,
And it
I was
looked
sitting here and I'm like,
phenomenal.
I don't remember, but
No, the
yes, you
face
are
huggers
correct.
were CGI. The
I
other
don't know.
thing was
There were
CGI.
some.
The
I
clearly
don't know.
CGI stuff was CGI, but
There were some moments where, like, one particular moment that was really good for me. I do have a small nitpicky moment about it, but for overall the scene was great, so it's whatever. But like where they're having to walk through the room full of face huggers to get through,
oh yeah,
I think a lot of those were actually like robots. Like,
or like puppets or something, because like they did kind of
yeah,
move like spidery fingers, you know.
yeah, like it looked like they had like stuff on them. Like it looked like prosthetic stuff and everything.
They looked very genuinely articulated, you
Yes,
know, like
and
it moved like it was real. So
I
it
do
might have
have to
been.
say one thing that this movie did that a lot of others haven't done, because like face huggers, yeah, they're a scary thing in the movies and everything. Now, granted, I have not seen the Alien versus Predator movies in preparation for this. I will say that mainly because I don't know if they're
Those are
canon.
mostly non-canon, I believe.
Yeah. So I kind of just ignored them. So I don't know what the face hugger thing in those are like. But usually face huggers are one by one in the other movies. Like it usually gets like one or two people, or we see the aftermath of it. This one, we see a literal swarm of them. Like that was
Mhm.
genuinely horrifying. Like it actually
Yeah, because they
was.
all woke up at once. I think mainly in the other movies they just like disturb like one egg at a time. Cause like I
Yeah.
mean, older movies like that trying to animate and like do all these face huggers and shit that probably would not be great,
Well,
especially with that level
the
of
other
CGI
draw the
or
other
doing it
draw was that
practically.
it's like they do one and that's all they need because now they have to deal with the one alien.
Yeah,
Or in Aliens, it was, that was the thing. Like they focused more on the aliens than the face huggers in most of the movies, which is fair because
yeah.
the movie is called Alien, not face hugger. So like that's whatever. But still, it was like the moment where it freaking like after the swarm came after them and it just latched onto that girl's face and just
Yeah,
like caught her, like that looked so good. That looked
it
really
did.
good. Like
It did.
it
And
looked like something actually hit her in the face.
yeah, and I gotta give them props to the X-ray scanner when they literally showed it like burrowing and like bursting up
Breaking her
against
ribs.
her rib cage. Yeah, yeah. I
Like
wish they would have like focused on that a bit more and shown a little bit more, but because that went hard.
that did go hard. That was really good. And
That was a very smart choice.
another thing that this movie did very well was I can't think of the word for it. Audience specific horror, or like the kind of horror where it's anticipation. The audience is clued in on something
Yeah,
that the characters either forgot, don't know,
suspense.
or don't remember. Like how in Sting, like when we were watching Sting, those scenes where it's like you see the spider but the person doesn't see the spider. Like
Yeah, like
it's
dread
like
horror.
that dread horror, like the part where like there's the big one where
Hmm.
we find out like with the because they have like this, we kind of breeze past this, so just to kind of preface this, like while they're on the ship, they brought the robot to gain access. While they're on the ship, they find another synthetic and they use its thing to upgrade that robot's access so that way he can gain more access. But in doing
It
so,
actually cured his autism.
it cured his also. Oh, yeah, the robot was autistic and it cured his autism. Uh, and it gave him a
Maybe we just need like
Chips in our neck.
them little discs too. Yeah.
Yo,
Then we
throw the
too can rejoin society.
Cyberpunk 2077.
True.
But and that's the other thing, is that synthetic was based off of the one from the first movie that kind of hijacked the ship and was kind of the reason for literally everything that went wrong on that.
Apparently that's the bit that people are most upset by, because I didn't know going into this. Like, I went up to the counter to buy my tickets, and the guy behind the counter said that, like, some people are mad about it, but like he said they were like just too big of fans of the originals to even accept anything new, and they were just elitist or whatever. I didn't know what he was talking about, so I went into that looking for that. So I'm like, I don't understand. So I and then I thought, is it the robot? Is it the robot? Because
Yeah.
it's the same guy from the first one. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, because they're mad because they think it's the same character or the same whatever. I'm like, well, no, because it's a different name,
It's a
so it's
different
not the
name.
same robot, clearly, so that doesn't, like, destroy
And
the
they
timeline at
explain in
all.
other movies that
And
they are
that's
like models.
they are models. They have multiple ones. In Covenant, as much as it pains me to, speak that name, uh, like, literally there were two robots in that movie with the exact same face, and
Yeah.
the Bishop robot from Aliens was based off of Bishop Wayland himself. So, and like, so I thought, like, is it that? Because that doesn't make any sense. Only until just now, preparing for this podcast as we're sitting here, I looked it up, and it's because that the actor who played the original robot in Alien died, and they brought him back to life via CGI to
Which is one of
be
the
this
things
new
about
robot.
AI and everything like that people are like. That was one of the big outcries about CGI
That was
when it was
probably not
AGI and everything.
AI.
Oh no, I doubt it. I'm sure it looked like fully articulated CGI and everything like that. Like it
No,
was
they
something that was like they just kind. It looks like they might have just
right. So I
photomapped
I
his face on
understand
someone
that.
else's face.
I understand that it's kind of disrespectful, but I have no idea what the actual guy would have felt about this. I have no
Yeah,
idea, if his family would be like, "Oh, it'd be so nice to see him in a movie again," or like it's incredibly disrespectful. I'm more leaning on it's slightly disrespectful to do something like that, but I'm not fully informed of the entire situation, how it shakes out.
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, I don't know. But honestly, I don't find it that thing because he wasn't exactly a main character. Like he maybe had like
No.
20 line, maybe had like he had maybe 10 minutes of screen time, 15 minutes of screen time total in the
I mean,
almost
he
2 hour
was
movie.
integral to the plot.
He was integral to the plot, but like they got around that slightly from like it passed its directive onto the new guy. So, I mean, it did show up quite a bit and was still fucking shit up and manipulating shit. But
It
like,
was yeah,
he
he
was
was a
still
pretty
the
big part of
bad
the movie,
guy.
I think.
He was still the bad guy. Like
Yeah.
that might be the drawing point. But anyway,
So
uh, going back to it, like it kind of passes his actually the original point. It passes this new directive onto it, which is they distilled this compound thing from the aliens to make
yeah, it's some
humans the perfect organism,
biochemical
and it looked like it brought a rat
something.
back to life or something.
Yeah, they fucking squished a rat with gravity, and then fucking, like, reverse stop motioned it back together with the goo.
Yeah.
So something vague space science. Inject the
Yeah.
goo, become weird.
Yeah, and then it freaking
You know how it is.
explodes the rat full of like into like this weird amalgamous creature.
Yeah, it turned into some, like, Cthulhu thing and then died immediately.
Like they have to do
So you're
this
like,
like
oh,
side
don't
quest.
take the thing.
Yeah.
But then the girl
Mhm.
who not the main girl, but one of the other girls that we didn't mention because half the cast is irrelevant.
It
Uh,
really is.
she injects herself with the thing because she's dying or whatever. I don't
Mhm.
know. And she's pregnant. So I thought like, oh, is this what people are mad about? Because like I thought this takes place
Yeah.
before 1 and 2, right? She's pregnant. She injects herself with a thing that changes you and makes your DNA weird. I thought, please don't mutate her into becoming the alien queen, like the one that laid all the
Yeah.
eggs in Aliens. Because I'm like, because that really would not make any sense. So please
It
don't
wouldn't.
do that. That would be so stupid. And thank God they didn't. But also, uh, they did something way worse. I'm not a fan of the ending. I don't like the ending
Okay, do you not like the
because
ending because it makes you uncomfortable or because it's stupid?
because it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't connect to the rest of the movie. So the pregnant girl,
Yeah.
she gives birth to this alien egg, and inside there's this little like. Remember when like Voldemort was all shriveled up and
Yeah,
dead? It
yeah, it
was
looked
that
like
guy.
that, yeah.
It was in there, and then like it grows
It looked
out,
like a
and then
smooth head baby.
it was she gave birth to Slender Man basically,
Yeah.
and it just attacked her for a while. It was basically they were trying to do the end of Alien Resurrection again, except in Alien
Yeah.
Resurrection at the very least the whole movie was building up to that point.
So they made that weird alien baby thing, yeah. And
Didn't like it.
that well, I liked it in a way. Cuz I mean it was completely irrelevant to the plot. Like it was a last thing. Like, you know what it was? It was trying to redo the thing from the first one where, they settle in, they're safe, everything's
They
cool,
do that
and
on
then
every
obviously
single Alien movie. They think they get away, they take off in the spaceship, and then they're like, they go, "Woo, we're safe," and then the alien jumps out. Boom, you're not safe. It snuck away on board. That happened in literally every single Alien movie.
they need to
And this
kill it.
time
They need to stop doing
they
that trope.
killed off the only aliens. They blew up the whole ship, and there's no aliens left. So the only thing that they could possibly do is like, up fucking alien Slenderman. He's here. Guess
Yeah.
what?
That thing was, I do have to say I liked it in the sense that it was deeply disturbing. Like, to look at the thing was like, I didn't like it. I like, and the
I
moments it
did.
would kind of just pop
I
up out of
didn't.
nowhere.
I didn't like how it looked in the fact that I think it looked really bad. Like I would not
That's
have designed it to look like that. I would have gone with a different design choice.
I would have changed the way its face was. Like, I was okay with the body. The face was weird. Like, giving it human, like normal human teeth was kind of weird. Was kind of a weird design choice. And like every single time, when, like you just see like crackhead teeth. That's about it. Like it
Yeah,
was,
I didn't like
but
it.
I will say
I thought
the moment where she like has to drop the like she's trying to drop the giant like the bottom of the ship out
yeah.
and drop it in, and it like she's dangling from her rope, and the thing like jumps down at her, and it's like got its face peeling off and everything. That legitimately made me
Isaac liked
jump.
the jump scare bait.
It was good. Like normally jump scare is like, oh, that's freaking annoying. That was actually a good jump scare. I liked it. I thought
Okay.
it was good. Uh,
All
to
right.
be honest, oh, there were a lot of cool moments in this movie, especially like I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, the moment where they have to walk through all the face huggers and stuff, and they like the way they do it is like they raise the room temperature because they deduce that they maneuver, like they target by sound and like thermal things, so they
Yeah.
raise the temperature of the room to match their body heat. And I have a problem with that. Not that the whole like room temperature, body temperature is different thing. It's the fact that they raise the temperature of the room and then open a big fuck ass door like into said room, that will completely change the temperature of that room. Like it absolutely will. Like it, like
I'm
that.
sure I'm sure that Disney Studios would be happy to accept your strongly worded letter about the science of room temperature, Isaac.
But even
Yeah, I
besides that,
like
like that was a cool scene.
there were a lot of cool bits of the movie. I will admit that as well. I was a super big fan of when they turned off the artificial gravity and then started shooting at the alien, so that all the acid blood was just floating around in zero gravity.
That way, it
I
wouldn't
thought
burn
that
through
was
the
really
bottom of
cool.
the
That
ship and like suck them out
Yeah,
into space.
it looked really cool. The way that they were maneuvering through it without trying to get any contact with the acid blood was pretty cool. An aspect of the movie I really liked is that most of the times when they were out in space, it was dead silent. Because that was the main
Yes.
tagline of the original Alien is in space, no one can hear you scream. That's where they get that from. And literally when they're out in space, it's dead silence. Not even like background music for the most part. Um, so there'll be parts where they're like running out and like when you said when she drops the cargo tank at the end, like it falls through and it goes dead silent.
I loved that scene because like you saw that bottom of the cargo bay because like hit the thing because they're on this planet that has like rings like Saturn and
Yeah,
like
the rings looked really cool.
the rings looked really cool, like they were made of ice and shit or something like that, or rocks or whatever. Like it was really cool, and
Yeah.
like it was like the world's biggest belt sander. I really liked that because like there's that scene that we were just talking about where it drops it out, and like you can still see the ship in the background that they had just escaped, like still being like ground up in this belt. Like
Yeah.
that is still really really cool. Like it was a really cool shot.
Yeah. Yeah, like most things, I think there's a lot of good parts of this movie. I think there's a lot of bad parts. But I say we take it on over to the rankings and plug this one in.
Sure.
So I'll start us off.
Go ahead.
Um, I'm gonna give this a pretty nice 7. Pretty pretty standard 7. Like it's not the best Alien movie, not by far. Clearly, nothing's gonna beat the first two. But it's definitely not the worst. I really did not like Alien Covenant. I think you and I are the only ones who like Resurrection. I
Resurrection.
think it was a little bit better than Resurrection. I think it was better than
It was.
Resurrection, but not as good as the first two.
It pains me to say that because I actually did love. I actually really liked Resurrection. I liked the whole premise and the way it was shot. And
I
freaking
like the
what's her face? I forget her name now.
Winona
Uh,
Ryder,
no, Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver.
I liked the way she played. Like I liked the character that she had because I mean it's the same character, but she's just more like predatory. She's more like
Not the
an
same
alien.
character.
Well, she's a clone,
Literally a clone with half xenomorph DNA.
which I liked. Like she's playing someone who is like supposed to be this clone of this person that she's already played, but it's much more serious version of it, and I like that. But anyway, I'm getting off topic.
Yes.
I actually also I like I was telling you that I was having trouble placing this. And you even told me, well, run it through the Alien movies and go through there. And like I
Yeah.
really struggled for a second where I'm like, oh, is this better than Resurrection? And then then I actually looked at it like just cold and plainly and I'm like, yeah, it's definitely better. I'm also with that said, I'm also going to give this movie a 7. It's a
Nice.
pretty like you said, it's a pretty middle of the road 7.
Okay, moving on to our next movie, we have The Crow, starring Bill Skarsgård. Isaac, please take us away with the description.
Soulmates Eric Draven and Shelley Webster are brutally murdered when the demons of her dark past catch up with them. Given the chance to save his true love by sacrificing himself, Draven returns to seek bloody revenge against the killers, traversing the worlds of the living and the dead to put the wrong things right. Now, for this movie, that is a good description, I think.
Yeah.
It misses the mark of what The Crow should be.
Yeah. We're not gonna be coy about this. We were kind of disappointed by this movie.
I was hoping it would be good. You know what? This movie is to us what the Borderlands movie was to Alex. Not as severe, but Alex really wanted the Borderlands movie to be good, just like we really wanted this to be good.
Yeah. So to preface this, I have seen The Crow. I really like The Crow, and I was, excited to see The Crow come back. Plus, I think I can speak for both of us. We really like Bill Skarsgård. Dude was Pennywise.
I love Bill Skarsgård.
Dude was in Boys Kills World.
Dude has been on a rise recently. Like John Wick 4, yeah. Boy Kills World, Barbarian. Like, dude has been hitting it out of the park recently. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a very, very good actor. And I don't even think he was a bad cast for The Crow, because he definitely looks the part pretty good. I mean, he's kind of got a bit of a Jared Leto Joker thing going on with all the tattoos, but I mean, that's just what kind of like goth people are nowadays, so yeah. I guess that's kind of okay. Like, he looks intimidating. He looks pretty good. So, and like, when he got into like the action stuff, that kind of seemed more of his element. That kind of seemed like he was more in his element, because I mean, this was either like before, after, or during, somewhere around the time of him doing Boy Kills World as well.
Yes. Like, so he's really settling into the action. He was doing a lot of action
stuff this year.
Like, he's really settling into his role as an action actor, and I'm here for it. I like him as an action person.
Yeah. And the action was pretty good. Like, I think a lot of the violence and the gore was done pretty, standardly. It was okay. It did its job,
Yeah.
But like, I was looking through our things for, what we've seen this year, because we were talking about this, and we were like, was this the worst remake of this year? I'm like, well, what were all the remakes this year? And the only other one that we had on our list of movies was The Strangers Chapter 1. And,
True.
As much as I like The Strangers, as much as I like The Crow, they both had really bad remakes. And the thing is, like, I felt the same way too. Like, I was in my seat trying to like it. Like, I was trying to like both of them. Like, same thing with Strangers. Like, my favorite thing about the Strangers movies is how, like, you would notice them in the background and, like, a chill would, like, run up your spine. Like, I was, like, trying to force a chill my spine when watching the remake, because, like, I would notice someone in the background, I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's good, I like that, but like, I didn't feel anything by it. I wasn't motivated by that. Same thing with the action. Like, it's super cool when he gets a sword stabbed through his back and he takes a gun and he shoots himself through the chest to kill the guy behind him.
There was no way.
We already saw that in the trailer, and B, like, I don't know, it didn't feel cool. And then he followed it up by, like, the sword sticking out of his chest. He grabbed a guy and pulled his face into the sword. That wasn't in the trailer, so that was something new, something cool, but my brain said, oh, that's cool, but my body didn't react to it at all. Like, I wasn't in the right mood. I wasn't impacted by the movie at all. It was kind of just, like,
there was a lot in this. There was a moment that I'm remembering literally just now, because I'm thinking about the action scenes. And there was a moment that annoyed me as someone. So going into this, I hadn't seen the original Crow, and that is what I am going to try and use.
That was different.
Yeah,
That was our
our
difference. I had seen The Crow, you had not seen The Crow.
And I
And since
intentionally kept it that way.
After watching The Crow, we went back to my place and we made you watch The Crow. And
Yes,
what did you think of
so
the original Crow?
I like the original better. I do, but
Thank you.
I'm trying my best to look at this from the perspective of the movie as it is versus the movie as a
Yeah,
remake. Because that was the point
right.
of this. But even
Because
as a
I would
movie,
be seeing it. Yeah, I would be seeing it as like I like the first one, so how does this compare to the original being a
even,
remake? And you had it more just like I don't know anything.
I
So
mean, I knew what The Crow was, and I've seen it like
right.
parodied, and I've seen it kind of like in like some stuff. Like I've seen it brought up in like pop culture,
Yeah,
but I've never
like what
actually
most
watched the
people
movie.
know about it. Yeah. I think one of the most biggest hindrances of this is that it completely misunderstands like the theme and like the story of the original.
That's fair.
Like I get what they were trying to do with like the oh it's not his hatred, it's not revenge. He's doing it out of pure
Love.
love. Like they were trying to push that. Like I get it, but I feel like they didn't handle it very well because
Like the pacing of this movie was off.
yeah. I mean
Like
yeah,
yeah,
cuz in
exactly.
the original movie it starts off with they're both dead.
And he
Like
doesn't
that's the
even
first
come
thing that's
back
happened
till
is
a
that
year
they're
later.
dead. Right, like on the anniversary and like everything's far past and he's just literally like, "Hey, like they use the term like put right what has been wronged,
Put the wrong
right?
things
And in
right.
the original one, yeah, put the wrong things right. In the original one, that was like he was killing the people who killed him and his girlfriend, getting revenge on them, but he was also like getting this little girl's mom off of drugs to act more responsibly. He was thanking a police officer who had spent 30 hours by his girlfriend's side as she was dying, looking after her. He uh helped he was helping people as well. He was appreciating the good things, right? And he didn't have that with this. It was literally just he came back to kill these guys, and then that was it.
Real. Like I will say, like even from a standpoint of someone who didn't watch the original going into this, I already knew the pacing was off. The pacing was weird. It took half an hour for
Yeah,
him to even come back as the Crow.
yeah. They spent the first half hour playing up their relationship
Like even in
from
the
Eric and Shelley,
like even
and
in
I
the
didn't
description of
care.
this. Even in the description of this, they even mention when the demons of her dark past catch up with them. So it isn't even him. It's her.
Yeah, like she's the main character in the first half hour of the movie, and then they both die, and then suddenly it switches over to Eric, who literally you had almost no internal thoughts or feelings or
Yeah. You just saw him
anything
get
about
yelled
this
at.
guy.
You
You
just saw
knew
him getting yelled
you
at people. And he was kind of weird.
yeah, like you know more about Shelley's past and her life than you do about Eric. And I'm like, it's his movie. It's about him. That's what the other one was. It like literally it starts off with them dead. And then the first time you even see Eric really is him crawling out of his grave.
True.
Like it
This
starts with that.
this movie was like it took what the other movie was and made it more like what movies nowadays are, if that makes sense. Like it took
Bad
what
pacing.
well no, it took what the original movie was, which is, the same movie in the vein of John Wick, Drive, Silent Night, things like that,
Oh
where it's
yeah,
just
make it a John Wick
yeah.
where a
Like
guy.
the original one is in its essence that, but it made it
Yeah,
more like the more modern ones like Drive and those like that, where it is him just kind of like they made him edgy dude goes on a rampage killing people that killed his wife and all that, and or his love and all that stuff, or that just fucked with them kind of thing. And it's like, but even then it misses the mark, because the whole thing is like he's not even doing it out of revenge originally. Like he's doing it because he was told that he can get his wife back. Before that he can get her back.
Yeah, I don't like the guy, the spirit guy that he goes to see in the other
that entire
world.
realm is cool as fuck, though.
The puddle realm.
I like that. I thought it was kind of cool. Like all the
like
crows
that too.
flying around, like it's a hub world for all the crows.
Yeah, the bits where the guy pushes him and then he slow-mo falls back into the water, I thought those were like shot cool. I think those were cool scenes. Like there's cool bits to this, but that's the problem, is that it's just bits. That's why I've been explaining this movie. The trailer itself is better than the movie.
Yes.
And that's insane.
They made the movie.
The trailer is so hype. It goes so hard. And then the rest of it is so boring and so flat and lifeless and joyless and nothing.
We don't even get that line, like the line in the trailer that gets me so hard every single time. Like I love it every single time. Where he's like, "You have no idea the hell that awaits you," and he goes, "Actually, I do." And it's like that goes so hard. And like the thing I hate about it,
I do.
But it's like that line doesn't happen until the very end of the movie, and it's kind of just like thrown in there.
It's a throwaway line.
And also I hated of course they had to fucking throw it in there where it's like me for her kind of thing, because like he fucks up the first time.
Yeah, take my soul for hers. In the original Crow, we're gonna be saying that a lot. In the original Crow, like he doesn't bring her back. Shelley's just dead.
I didn't like that she came back at the end of the movie.
You only see her in flashbacks, and you see her in like a vision. So Eric comes out of the grave, sets the little girl's mom back on the right path, helps the little girl along, saves her life, saves the cop's life. I think. Does the cop die for sure? No.
The cop doesn't die, no.
No, the cop doesn't die. So thanks the cop, like he sets things on a better path, and he punishes the guys who killed him, and then he goes back to his grave, and he goes back to rest. And it's like a cool, like, open and shut case, right? It brings a guy back to right the wrongs, and then to the grave, and it was like a nice thing.
Yeah, he only righted his wrongs.
Yeah, so he kills the people who were in charge of this, and then he says, "Oh, I'll go to hell so that she can continue to live." I'm like, that was never an option, first of all.
Yeah.
But then when he does that, she lives, and she just wakes up being resuscitated back at the beginning. So none of that happened, and all the people that he killed are still alive.
Yeah, like it made no sense. The ending was so
what does that do? They just didn't kill her.
And also,
they're gonna kill her again.
We didn't even get a shot of him like going to hell. He just kind of walks off. And I'm like, I thought that was the deal.
He doesn't
that
walk
he goes
off.
to hell
he's
now.
He's in the hub world again, and then it just pans away from him, goes back to her, and then movie end.
Like I said, I'm like, you're the one that's bringing up the original, which I do like a lot, and I'm trying to stay objective to the movie as it was, and even the movie as it wasn't as entertaining as the as I was expecting it to be. The movie I had in my head that the movie gave me from the trailer did not match. And that is kind of an L. Like, it did not deliver on what it promised. I thought it was going to go hard as fuck. And, I mean, it had a couple moments.
But did the original go hard as fuck? Did the original live up, though?
I am going to say the original was very good. But again, I am also saying that yes, this franchise hasn't been touched since in almost 2 decades.
Right.
Like the last movie I think came out. I think I was looking at it. Came out in like 2005.
Yeah.
But like
Um,
it, it's kind of whatever. This
it's kind
movie
of
was
whatever.
just kind of like, again, the fact that it is a remake is enough to set it up for failure on its own.
Right.
Because there are
Well,
going.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. The thing is that like to make a remake, you have to thoroughly understand the original. You know what I mean?
This movie should have been a passion project, and there was no passion.
True. That's true. Like, take for
Despite the
example,
fact of the, despite the theme of the movie is love, there was no passion in this movie.
the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie. Yes, it's a drastic, radical change from the original movie, but it's still got that fun, that nonsense, that
Someone cared.
it's someone cared. Like they put effort into this. Like it was entertaining. It was, and like they and in some ways it's more accurate to the book than the first movie was because they have like lines that are directly ripped from the book, like, and that weren't in the original movie. But the thing is that they changed a lot of things that made more sense in the original. For instance, the crow itself, like the actual bird in this movie, I think was wasted, was butchered. They really didn't get it. Because in the original, the crow was like a guide, right? It was his tether to the the supernatural underworld afterlife, whatever it is. It was his tether to that. He would follow the crow, and the crow would lead him to where he needed to be, to where
Yeah.
he was needed, and the crow is what gave him his powers. So in the movie, the original, when they shot and injured the crow, that cut him off from his powers, and he could be wounded again. He could be killed. He could be stopped, and he couldn't use any of his powers. Right. In this one, in the new one, instead of the crow leading him, it just follows him wherever he goes. Like not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really inconsequential. It's just tagging along as, I don't know, like a entourage just to set the mood, I guess. And
Yeah.
it doesn't show him where he's needed. It doesn't like lead him to where he needs to go.
It kind of just
Um,
shows up wherever it seems like he's going. Like it gets there
well,
before
no,
him, so
it
that way they
doesn't.
can do. So that way they
It
can do the
doesn't get
guide
there
thing.
before him. Every time you see it, it's following after him. It's behind him
Well, like
because it doesn't lead him. That's what I liked about it in the old one, is because it seemed smarter than just a bird, because it would lead him to where it needs to go, and it like you couldn't communicate with it because it's a bird, so you have to kind of like, "Oh, what are you telling me? What do you want me to
you're just kind of
do?"
follow it.
kind of thing. But in the new one, the way he gets around is just that he takes the phone off of the dead guy he just killed, and they just so happen to text him the exact
That
address
was
of where the
lazy
other
ass
bad guys are
writing.
going to be. And they did that twice. They did that twice in a row. He just
Like
takes their phone to see where they're going next.
that was lame, and like
I'm like, you have the crow. He's right there. He's the
also
paranormal
let's talk about the
GPS right there,
villain.
and he's just leaving him. Oh,
So what the problem with the
major L.
villain? The villain was
Major L.
a
So
major L. They could have just made him a gang leader or like a corrupt politician.
yeah, so he was the bad guy in the original one. He was just like an eccentric kind of evil criminal overlord who didn't know anything about this afterlife stuff or anything. So he was just as surprised by the crow as anyone else. But in the new movie, he's made a deal with Satan so he could live forever if he killed a bunch of innocent people. And
not just
so
killed a
once
bunch of innocent people. He needs to
oh
get
makes
innocent
them
people,
kill themselves or something.
like kill themselves or kill other people. He needs to get innocent people sent to hell. The
Yeah,
people who wouldn't have gone to
which
hell otherwise.
which doesn't make sense theologically, but why would it?
Like he makes
Um,
them commit suicide so they'll go to hell, or like in Shelley's case, like he does this weird thing in their
yeah,
ear,
I don't like the
and then
fucking humana that he does. Like, it's like, what?
it's like
I don't know.
like it's freaking weird.
Right. So you
And like
added like the reason why the Crow was entertaining because he was this paranormal force that's throwing this standard uh criminal group
organization.
just throwing them for a loop. They don't
Yeah.
it's like, I killed this guy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's stretched up to the top. This guy, he's like, yes, you are the Crow with the Crow powers. I've been waiting for you. I've been expecting you. It's like, I've heard legend of your tale. And I'm like,
You have the
no,
powers of a
what?
god and all this
But
stuff like that.
the
Like
the real problem I have with this is because they could have made that worked. I could have
you could have.
overlooked that. Like, it could have worked. But he takes the Crow's powers for himself, and he gets like the black blood in the eyes, so he has all the Crow's powers, which in this movie is just healing. Literally has
Yeah.
no other powers, which is so boring.
That and the ability to
And then
move between the real world and that hub world, and that's about it.
oh, the hub world, great! You get to go to this one train yard full of birds and puddles. Congrats.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they go to the hub world, and literally they for 2 minutes, do nothing, and then he jumps up on him. He punches him like 3 times, and then weird tentacles drag him to the bottom of the water. The end. What, you were gearing up this guy the whole time. The whole time you were gearing this guy up. And then on top of that, you give him the same powers of the Crow, so they're at equal levels, and they have healing, so they could literally just Deadpool and Wolverine do as much damage to each other as they want and do a whole fight scene, and you didn't do that. You just let the guy just limply fall
Yeah.
and then die
My
with no fanfare.
my other biggest issue with this movie is their relationship itself. Like Shelley and Eric
Yes.
is because like I get I get it. I get it. I get it. People love the whole two messed up people finding each other and learning to trust and love
You used
again.
the Deadpool quote, "Your crazy matches my crazy."
That's what it is. What that shit is. Like it's been done ever since that shit. Like that's the whole reason the whole like Joker Harley Quinn thing is now. Like, that's all that is.
Yep.
That's what it's going to be in the new
Yep.
movie. In the
Yep.
new Joker movie, that's the whole reason they're going to be attracted to
It's
each
just,
other.
I'm crazy, you're crazy, I'm emotionally damaged irreparably, and so are you. Let's be crazy together. And I'm like,
Yeah,
how
that's
many
what it is. Like they're
people do
sitting
you
there, they're
think are
doing
actually?
drugs together. Like they're sitting there doing drugs and shit like that together and getting high. And like it almost seems like she completely forgets that she's supposed to be on the fucking run from this dude.
Yeah.
Like she completely forgets it. Like they go back to this place where it has been known that she is. Like she knows that like the whole
Yeah.
reason they escape this like cuz she gets caught by a cop with drugs so she can get sent to prison so that way she can get away from the like these dudes cuz she saw something she wasn't supposed to or whatever.
She
And
could have just said, like,
and
hey, that guy's
spoiler alert,
following me.
and spoiler alert, the thing that she found in the video, the big reveal, is that dude did the thing in her ear and like made her kill a person. That's it. That's the big thing. And it's like, and like that's enough to make Like that's the whole thing, and I'll get back to why that's even a problem later. But like that's the big reveal. But anyway, like she's running away from this dude because they're trying to like get rid of anyone who has this video, and like
Yeah.
so she gets caught by a cop to go to jail. Meets Eric there. They escape together.
It was
And
rehab, I think.
Yeah, rehab. Like
a
a
co-ed
rehab,
rehab, which is a very, very
There's a very
bad
bad
idea.
idea. There's a very bad idea, and we could do another 20 minutes on that alone.
Let's put several dozen drug addicts together, male and female, and so there won't be.
And also not enforce those rules with any severity, like at all. Like they literally say, "Hey, men and women aren't supposed to sit at the same table." And it's like, first off, why is it fucking co-ed then? Why do you have them doing lunch at the same time? And on top of that,
dude.
a motherfucker walks up to him, a security guy walks up to him, sees woman and man at the same table, and just tells him, "Hey, it's time for your therapy session." And they just take him away. Like, what the fuck? There's
so
no severity.
They don't like them eating lunch together, but apparently there's no problem with them hanging out in each other's quarters unsupervised for hours on end.
Like, what the fuck? Anyway, on top of that, like I said, we could do even more on that. But after they leave this place together on a fucking whim, well, not on a whim, is because the reason they escape is because the chick that she knows works for this dude that's after her shows up at this rehab center to get her. And so they escape and then just fuck about. Like, they go back. She brings him back to a place where she was fucking living before this. Dude left. She left that same place, and that's where Guy followed her from. Like, what the fuck?
That's true.
She like, they're even there, and while they're there,
went back home.
While they're there, she's like, "Oh, I remember something," and they pull out this thing from like her secret stash where the phone that the video resides on is, which you would think, would cause for a moment of like her like kind of having like a kind of thing. No, she just tosses it to the side so they can do the drugs that are in there.
No, I thought she hid the phone in there afterwards.
No, she hid the phone in there before she left the apartment and went to rehab. And then after they break out, they pull the thing away from the thing. And like, they even pulled the said phone out of box of drugs in that scene. And like,
I didn't even pay attention to that shit.
Yeah, and like, that's why he knew where it was. Because he saw the phone already. True. But like, even that, like, she goes there, and then they get their own apartment. They're fucking about in clubs. Like, she deserved to die. She did. She absolutely did. She didn't fucking take any precaution. Like, at all.
You could have left the state.
Yeah, like, she stayed in the fucking city. The same fucking city. You could have just gone somewhere far fucking away. And like, nah. I'm good. Like, it made no sense. Like, it's her own stupidity. And the only reason why this dude is doing all this is because his wife was a prostitute? Like, maybe she played piano for this guy? It sounded like her mom.
She played piano for this guy and then turned prostitute. Clearly, Isaac. I find it very funny that she's on the run from this Satanist criminal overlord, and then willingly puts herself into rehab, and then escapes from said rehab, so she's on the run from the criminal overlords and rehab, and then decides to remain within a Pizza Hut delivery radius of both of those places.
Real! Like, it makes no sense at all. She's a fucking
It
dumbass.
makes sense in the original. It makes sense in the original. I'm just saying.
I am agreeing with you. Like honestly,
If
I'm not even lying. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this. My number has actively been going down as we've been talking about this. I'm not even kidding.
that's true.
I have gone down
Mine
2
too.
whole number rankings from when we started, because I was willing to.
Oh my
I think
god,
I was.
really?
I'm not even kidding. Because I realized,
Well,
oh
okay,
yeah, this wasn't that great, and then I realized, wow, she's
hang
a
on.
fucking dumb bitch.
Hang on, Isaac, calm down. Christ. It's a
I'm
movie.
getting angry now.
You got it half off. You got it half off. Calm down. You calm the fuck down.
Oh my god.
So before we move into, because I want to talk about some positives, so to calm you down
Fair enough.
a bit.
Fair enough.
Okay?
I'm glad
But
to talk
before
about
we
the
move into
positives.
that, I would like to make a recommendation here. So if you liked the original Crow, I saw a movie literally just today that was in the same kind of vibe, like the same kind of storyline, something very, very, very similar, that I think you would like, and that I actually think would have made a better movie had they chosen to remake this rather than The Crow. If they were made this movie instead of The Crow, I think it would have been much better.
What is it?
It's called Dark Man. Have you ever heard
Sounds
of
familiar. I think I've seen the
it's
name
a
somewhere, but I don't think I've ever actually seen
it's
the
a
movie.
it's a Liam Neeson movie from the 1990s. I think it's 90. I think it's just 90. So he's a dark vigilante type who's kind of sort of back from the dead, and he's got a hang up over his girlfriend, and he's trying to take down a criminal organization all on his own. But it's kind of cheesy. It's got that early 90s cheese to it. The visual effects are not great. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's got some hard moments. It's got a super interesting character and super cool and original storyline.
That would have worked really
And
well for Bill Skarsgård, actually.
it really would have. Bill Skarsgård with like a horribly burned face covered up in bandages like Hollow Man or Negative Man or something.
He is no stranger
Going
to
on a killing
tons of
spree like this.
prosthetics and stuff on his face.
I feel like if they put effort into it, they could have made a good Dark Man movie instead of The Crow.
You know what this movie suffers from? I mean, it suffers from a lot. But there is one thing that I am starting to more and more solidify in my understanding of movies is what I'm going to dub just in this moment as movie inflation. In the sense of the budget of movies has gone up, but the quality has not.
Yeah, I mean that's
so like the lower
a lot of the
budget
times it's
a
going
movie
towards
has,
the names.
like the lower a budget a movie has, the better it tends to turn out to be, especially this past year. Like a lot of the best movies that we've seen in the past year have been surprisingly low budget movies. Godzilla Minus One was made on a budget of $12 million. This movie even was made on a budget of $50 million.
Yeah.
And even not all of the fucking special effects looked that great either. Like, just it's
what I think the problem is that people are hired to. They say you're gonna make our new Crow movie. Whether they have seen The Crow or not, they're going to be tasked with knowing the material. Okay, most of the time, the people who made Borderlands did not. But I think the people who are in charge of remaking a movie, they may watch the original, but I don't think they ever really understand the original.
Well, the other thing is that every person directing wants to put their own thing. Like
Their own spin on it.
movie directors are just like any other artist, where they want to have their own unique handprint. They want their signature in this.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick with the perfect shots, and Steven Spielberg with like his big grandiose
And who directed this?
legs.
You gotta
Eric
look it up. They don't even
Eric
know.
something.
The-
Like
Eric
the
Draven.
crow, like something. That's probably what I'm thinking.
It's
Directed
irrelevant.
by some dude named Rupert Sanders or whatever. I don't know what else he's directed.
Okay.
Oh God,
don't
he did
think
Snow White and the Huntsman. Fuck. But no, like you got Stanley Kubrick with his things. You got that. You got Eli Roth making bad movies. You got like it's all a thing. But that's the other issue when you come into remaking a movie, is that you need to like the director is
you want to put your own flavor on it.
Yeah.
You don't want to remake the original. You want to make it yours.
Exactly, and that's a problem.
There you go.
With a lot of people. Like that doesn't work with every property. There are some properties that works with. Willy Wonka, perfect example. Like they put their own different take on it, and it worked. Johnny Depp's was great, actually. I quite love that movie, but like it didn't work well in this at all.
Yeah. Okay, we've been rambling about actually nothing for a while, so
Yeah, we
like
have.
I said, let's move on to the very little positives about this movie. Bill Skarsgård. I think a lot of the times, I think some of his lines were a little dry, a little robotic, but that probably isn't his fault because we've seen the complete opposite from him before.
Absolutely.
We've seen him, like, as Pennywise, his vocal, like, acting is incredible. It's phenomenal.
It is.
We've seen him in Barbarian, where he's the most normal, chill guy. Like he's so like calm and collected. Like his name is Skarsgård, so I'm assuming he's some kind of like Northern European descent. So he might have a kind of. I haven't actually seen
Viking probably.
That would be Sweden.
Yeah.
Or Nordic or something up there. So I haven't seen any interviews with him or anything,
Swedish.
so I don't. Swedish? Okay. So I don't know if he's got like a really bad accent normally and he was just breaking a little bit, but I caught a few moments where it kind of went through, or maybe that was just him being really dry. I don't know. He doesn't play the like edgy emo kind of, low talking kind of guy.
Like the thing that you're talking about right now, there's one moment that has been playing in my mind constantly because I find it kind of funny, and it's the moment where he's like, "I'm gonna kill every single one of them." Like it's
really bad. That's really bad.
Really bad.
I think a perfect example of the bad acting, bad line reading is the scene where Eric goes to meet with Shelly's mom.
Yes.
I think every line in that scene is terribly delivered.
It is.
I think that was a terrible, terrible sign. But regardless of that, like I was saying, Bill Skarsgård, great actor. He was really good in a lot of bits.
Yes.
Like,
once he got into the action part of the movie,
he was a lot. He was really good. I like the bits. I like the bits where he got injured. Like, he got slashed in the stomach and you can see an organ popping through and he pushes it back in and he, like, screams out in agony. Or, like, when he gets, like, run over by the car and you look at his leg and you see, like, the meat and the bones sticking out and he snaps it back into place and screams out in agony. Like, you feel the pain in that. So I don't think Bill Skarsgård was a bad choice.
I think the direction was bad.
Yeah, I think the direction was bad. I really liked the action I really like the gore. I feel like it needed a little more weight to it. I feel
I
like
will
more of the
say
movie should have been that.
I will say the big giant action scene in the movie, like it's the one that
The
they were
Opera House.
hyping up in the scene they were hyping up in the trailers and everything like that. Like the fact that by the end of it, everything is fucking covered in blood. And it's
Yeah.
cool because you can differentiate between his blood and theirs. Because his blood is all black and
Is
theirs is all red and
black.
everything. Like that was cool.
I
Like I liked that.
I did I did like the black blood
Yeah.
aspect. I did like that change that the crow's blood is black.
Yes. Like that
And
was
like I
that was
said, I
really
like the
cool.
hub world. I like all the slow-mo shots where he's pushed into the
Cinematography
puddles.
wise, this movie was gorgeous.
Yeah, there were a lot of really good cinematic shots. I I do like the crow like as a whole. So I
It
mean,
looked good. It looked really good.
it's kind of got like half a point just because it's the crow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like that's not a real
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it's give and take how I feel about
Yeah, there's a
this
lot
being the
good and a
crow.
lot bad. I'm realizing more
It's
bad
like
than
seeing a
good, but
yeah, it's like seeing a bad Spider-Man movie. I mean, like Spider-Man is really cool, but like the movie's not that great.
true. That's
It's
fair.
it's the same again. Once again, it's the same exact way I felt about The Strangers Chapter 1. I really
Exactly.
really like the Strangers, but the movie's really bad. I
You
even gave
literally
it an
said it.
extra point in
Yeah.
my ranking just because it's The Strangers, and that's been haunting me because that's ruining my
Yeah.
ranking because it's a 6 out of 10.
Bump it down. I've been doing that like the whole time.
That's
Like if
true.
I'm looking at a movie and I'm like, nah, that needs to be lower, and I'll just move it.
That,
But
oh, that completely destroys our rankings in these episodes, though. If we could just change them whenever we want.
well, that's true. Like sometimes you look back on a movie because we're doing this as our thing the moment after we see, like, oh, as soon as we can after we
Yeah,
see the
and then we
movie.
see a bunch of videos talking about it, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, that is true, I guess."
There's stuff
So
that
maybe
gets like
we
points
might
out.
refix a couple of things or this
Well,
and that and the other thing.
that's the other thing. That's the point of our end
But
of the
that's
year
why,
videos.
yeah, and that's why we talk about it. So we get our like our more fine-tuned thoughts about it rather than just boiling it all down to a number. But
Exactly.
we have Speaking of numbers, we have been going on about this, and we still have another movie
We
that
should get
we
to those
need to talk
numbers.
about in depth.
Yeah.
We should get to those numbers. Why don't you take us away?
Yeah. So going into this, I had this movie at a 6. I am now down to it being a 4. I originally leaving the theater, I was gonna give it a 5, and then I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, like bump it up to a 6. Very, very, just barely breaking the 6. But like, I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, it was all right. I mean, it felt like at least Bill Skarsgård was good. I like Bill Skarsgård, like, and it was pretty cool. Uh, and then like since we've been talking and like as much as I'm trying my hardest to keep the original Crow out of this, like, and I am like only a very brief moment of this, only a very little moment of this is me putting in how I feel about the original movie. Like, it's just the movie as itself just missed the mark. Like it
Yeah.
really did. Like
Um.
I didn't realize how much I hated the girl's decisions until I started ranting about it.
Yeah. Um. I am going to give this a 5 out of 10. Mostly because like anything below 5 is like super negative. I actively didn't like it for some reason or another. This was just like too. It was kind of bland, kind of boring, kind of uninteresting. It's like that's what a 5 is for. Middle of the row.
Yeah.
I mean, most of what I can say about what I don't like is comparing it to the original and like how I think it missed the mark, like you say. It's a little misstep. I think it's a little off kilter,
Yeah,
but
like I said,
it's
I'm
still
going to
around
preface
there.
this. It's not a 4 because it's not a 4 because it's particularly bad. It's got the disappointment points for me as well. This movie, I've been
That's
hyped
true.
for this. I've been hyped for this, and like
They did a really good job hyping you up for this because the
the
trailer goes
trailer went
so
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 hard.
hard.
Like the
And the
trailer
movie
made
didn't go hard. You were
it's
supposed to follow that up.
honestly, this disappointed me more than Monkey Man did.
Me too.
Like
Me
it
too.
did,
But I
and
thought it was gonna live up. Thought it was gonna live up.
even me, I just thought it was just gonna
Especially,
be really good. Like I like a good supernatural like vigilante guy. It's one of the reasons I love Ghost Rider. I love Ghost Rider because he's
yeah.
like a supernatural vigilante with his own set of rules and things like that. Like that's cool. I like that. And
Hmm.
I was hoping for something like that here, and it wasn't, and it was kind of lame.
It's true. I had the feeling going out of the movie, like, wow, all the like the crow stuff, like his side of the story, like his part, it really needed like an extra half hour to flesh out some things, let some stuff breathe, bring a little bit more explanation
The
to
amount of times
things.
he spent actually
And I'm like,
doing crow
you
stuff
know
was
where you know
very
where
little.
that half hour went?
Hmm.
Into his girlfriend's backstory and
Real.
them making goo eyes in the bathtub. I'm like, I don't care. The first movie starts off with them dead, okay? Like it gets right to the point and it really fleshes out the character over the entire length of the movie.
The
Moving on to our final movie of the podcast, we're taking a look at Blink Twice, otherwise known as Pussy Island, as we've been informed.
We've been informed that the original name of this movie is Pussy Island. And I find that really
And that's
funny,
very funny.
especially because I like the idea cuz Channing Tatum is in this movie. Before I get into this cuz he's in
Yeah.
this, and I like the idea that Channing Tatum, I like to think that he was handed a script of a movie called Pussy Island and he didn't even need to look at it. He didn't even need to look at the script.
He
He just
didn't
went,
even read it. He was
"I'm
just like,
in.
hell yeah.
I'm
Hell
in."
yeah.
Magic Mike looked at this and went, "Pussy Island, fuck yeah, I'm down." So anyway, when tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala, he invites her to join him and his friends for a dream vacation on his private island. Wild nights soon blend into sun-soaked days, but when strange things start to happen, Frida must uncover the truth if she hopes to make it out alive.
Pretty good explanation.
I think that's a really good explanation for the mystery aspect of this movie. So one of the things that is already out the gate with the mysterious aspect of this is just from the trailer, honestly, is the fact that they are starting to realize that they are forgetting things. They start to realize like, hey, something isn't right. Like they're like the main like chick finding dirt under her fingernails, or dude wakes
Hmm.
up with a black eye and doesn't remember how he got it and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that could be attributed to the fact that they're doing drugs constantly and things like that. But like it gets this weird like vibe to it. So
And then you get
first,
the point
well,
that
hold on,
really sets off
okay, go ahead.
from the trailer is that the friend that the girl brought with her is gone,
Disappear. She just disappears.
and
She
then
no
the
longer
other girls
remembers.
don't remember her ever being there. They're like,
Exactly.
who? What are you talking about? She's like, she's been with us this whole time.
Like Channing Tatum's character in
Yeah.
this movie is very well done. 'Cause he starts out as like this dude on social media on Frida's social media, and like he's apologizing, and that's like a big thing with social media nowadays. Like, you do something bad, you apologize for it, and he's like doing all this philanthropic shit, and like, and then it's
He's
like,
very good at playing every stage of the character.
He is. He very much is. Like the fun, goofy, like he's kind of like he's this billionaire, and he's kind of being awkward with the lady with Frida. Like he's kind of being
Yeah.
like, yeah. Or like I really liked the moment because they hang out with him at this gala, you know, and like they're having fun over the whole night, and then he goes to leave, and then like even leaving, he's like, bye. Okay, I guess. Like, yeah. And then he comes back and he's like, "Hey, I don't want to sound like you
Yeah.
want to come with me to the island?" Like it's just like he's kind of like just a dude trying to chat up a girl. Like I
Right.
thought that was done very well. Channing Tatum was a great choice for the character is what I'm trying to say. So we get to the island. And like it's one of those things where like they're on vacation, they're doing drugs, and the days start to blend together. And like even you as a audience member start to realize that wow, they've been here for at least like 4 or 5 days. Like before they even get to the part where they're starting to consider that weird shit's happening. You know?
Yeah.
Uh and like I feel like that was done really well, like all the partying stuff and like the chick, like that one chick, what's her name? Sarah, I want to say.
Don't know.
I don't
I
remember.
don't know.
The freaking Survivor chick. Like the chick that was on
Don't
Survivor
know.
Babes. But
I don't know anyone's names.
true.
There's
That's
too
another L.
many.
That is an L in this movie is that there are so many
Well,
characters that it's hard to keep them track of them.
not really, okay? Because the names are irrelevant, but I think their personalities and
I can
stuff
talk
are
to you
enough
about a
to stick out.
personality over
Because
who they
there's
are.
right. Well, I mean, first of all, you have recognition, right? You have Channing Tatum, you have the
Haley
main
Joel
chick, you have
Osment,
her friend, Haley Joel Osment.
Christian
People who are
Slater.
either the main characters or which one's Christian Slater?
Christian Slater was the one
Is he the
with the
camera
missing
guy
pinky.
or the
He's the missing
the
pinky
cut guy?
guy.
Yeah, the camera guy. Really?
Yeah, he's the missing pinky guy.
All right. See, you know them by like their character. Guy
All
with
of the
missing pinky
guy
takes the camera. The guy with the knife,
almost
freaking out with the knife. There was
yeah,
the blunt queen, as it is,
a blunt
and then the
queen.
astrology bitch, and the survivor. Like you know, each person has like something to them. There's no like bland ass character.
No, that is true.
I mean,
Like the characters are their names are irrelevant, but the characters are memorable is what I should say.
yeah, I remembered stuff about like every single character.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's
the other person
details
that
and
was in
points to
this.
them that stay in your head.
There was a really funny moment for me watching this because I got distracted for a quick sec because one of the dudes, like all of the dudes on this island, like all the guys that are with them for this trip are actually really well-known people in Hollywood. It's just
Yeah.
they're also people that like Channing Tatum is obviously the most. Haley Joel Osment has been affectionate,
Coincidence? I think not.
but like Haley Joel Osment, huge name. Frickin'
This isn't a movie. This is a whistleblow.
oh god. I don't really want to get into that quite yet.
This is Epstein the movie. Never mind.
But like the fucking you had like I was saying, you have Haley Joel Osment, Christian Slater, you know, Heathers, which is actually pretty fitting for this movie. And
How would you know?
the big one that fucked with my head is Simon Rex, the dude from the
I don't know who
fucking
that is.
Scary Movie movies. Like you have the dumb bitch in the Scary movies, the blonde chick, but then there's the other guy, like the guy who's like a rapper in the first one, and like the one that's
Oh,
like yeah, like that guy.
okay,
He's
kind
the
of.
like that messed with my head. Like that was kind of weird for me, and I'm like, and he's still kind of playing that like goofy character guy. You know, it's like, who has my knife? Like, I got this special knife from this dude, or like he's kind of overbearing with his girlfriend. You know, just calling her like, "Hey, babe." You know, constantly saying "babe."
It's well, no, it's not that he's overbearing with his girlfriend. Is that she's only really with him so she can try and get with Slater. If you didn't notice
True.
that,
Well, I did, and that's what I
so
was
she's
trying
like,
to bring up.
don't call me babe because that implies we're together. And if we're
Yeah.
together, I can't get with that guy.
So it's interesting
Backwards.
because what's even and there's other weird shit that happens before they realize the thing. Like the caretaker lady is kind of weird. Like she starts saying like she sees her and she's like red rabbit, and it's weird.
Don't.
Well, you can cut that out. Fine. Cut that out. Fine. That's fine.
So before,
Well, I'm not getting into that yet. I'm not gonna get into that yet.
right.
No, I was just saying
Before
the
we do
caretaker.
any spoiler sense, I think we've talked enough about the characters. I think the movie as a whole, I think it did a very, very good job with not only the overarching mystery of what's actually happening, but all the little tiny bite-sized mysteries and stuff. Like you mentioned
Yes.
before, like the guy is missing his pinky finger
Yeah.
and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. So
Yeah.
there's bits that stick in your head, like, okay, what's with the bags?
Yeah.
What's with flowers? What's with the snakes? What's with the caretaker lady? There's like a handful of like main questions that are knocking around in your head that you're like watching and paying attention, seeing if anything
Yeah.
will connect or if you'll answer that. And then there's little itty bitty tiny ones that they'll just mention and then you don't really think about it. And then when they
Like
answer that later, you're like, I forgot they even said that."
Well, even
It
talking about
connects back to something.
yeah, even and even when we start dipping the toe into the mystery part, because they're talking about
Yeah.
like I said, there's the creepy caretaker lady. So you're thinking, and none of the caretakers talk to them at all. So you're
Well,
thinking,
because they're on
oh,
an island, I
that's
think they don't speak English.
well, true. Like you can attribute it to that, but they're all just kind of smiley and all that stuff. So you could think, oh, maybe there's something weird with the staff kind of thing. Because you don't understand what the overarching thing is until the last 30 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
and what is actually going on, and it's you're it's very interesting, and all the little tiny bits, and even when you start dipping the toe into it, the dude's knife, I mentioned that earlier, where the guy's like, "Oh, I got the special knife," and his knife goes missing, and they start talking, "Yo, where's my knife?" Or the other one, the little itty bit of this that I love the most is we mentioned the girl that was with her lighter, and how her
Yeah.
lighter constantly is getting passed around, and they play it off like a joke, all right, who the fuck has my lighter kind of thing, and there's moments where they're talking about, I don't even remember taking it and stuff like that, and I love that, and especially the fact that that became an integral part later in the movie, which we'll touch on
Yeah.
later. uh but the big one that I like is that they talk about how this island has a problem with these snakes and stuff like that. I think, are we ready to talk into the spoiler bit ish kind of thing?
Yeah,
Do you have
I
any?
think we can tear down the big spoiler wall at this point and
I do
because
want
I
to
mean,
ease into
really
it. I do want to ease
that's
into it a bit because there's a
the
lot to
mystery
build up
is
to it.
a lot of the whole movie.
Yeah,
So, if you haven't seen it now, click away cuz this is it's even the little stuff
yeah.
all adds into the one big mystery. And I honestly think it's best to go into this
Going
as blind as possible.
we only saw the trailers. That's all we saw.
That's all we saw was the trailer. So I would definitely recommend that. But with that being said, let's move on into the spoiler zone
Yeah.
and really
So
discuss.
yeah. So the thing about this island is that they have this problem, as the guy puts it, with these snakes. And at one point, Frida's friend that we were talking about, who ends up disappearing, before she disappears, she gets bitten by one of those snakes. And after she gets bitten by the snake, she starts to remember the stuff that they're forgetting. And she starts
Mhm.
freaking out. And she's like, I feel like we're forgetting like a lot of stuff, and like something's wrong. And like I know that we're supposed to be having a good time, and by all intents and purposes, it seems like we're having a good time, but like I'm really scared. Like I don't know why I'm scared, but I'm scared. And
Yeah, at
like
that point, there really wasn't anything to be scared about to anyone's knowledge.
yeah, no. Like, and it was like, and there wasn't even anything like the creepiest thing we had in the movie to that point was the caretaker lady. It was
Yeah.
like she had that weird interaction where she was like trying to say things to her, and she was like, "What?" Like I didn't even understand what she was trying to say the first time. Like, the
Yeah,
first time
me
they had that
neither. I
interaction,
don't think she understood either. I thought she said Red Robin, and I'm like,
that's what
now
I
I'm
thought.
hungry.
Yeah, and like the second time that she see, and
Yum.
like, so it isn't until the second time that she sees her, because like, notice this, and I noticed this just now while we were talking, because I wanted to
Yeah.
bring it up, because I said this is where I'm bringing this up from earlier. She meets the lady a second time. And when she meets the lady a second time, because she finds this room full of all of the bags or whatever, and like she freaks out because she hears a noise and she sees the lady. And like the lady starts talking to her in a language she can't understand. She offers her like this drink, and she assumes it's alcohol or whatever. It's like, oh well,
Absinthe. It was
when in
bright
Rome,
green.
and she takes a swig of it. And she's like, "Oh, it tastes awful. What is that?" And it's like, "It's snake venom." And she starts saying it again. And this time, like as she's saying it, it becomes more and more clear. Like what she says, she's like saying "red rabbit" and all that stuff, which is still
Yeah.
fucking incoherent nonsense. But it's like whatever. But I'm just now realizing it's only after that scene that she meets up with the girls, and then she goes, "Where's Jess?" Because if she hadn't had that moment where she drinks the snake venom, I think she would have just kept on going and completely forgot about Jess. If it
Yeah.
hadn't been for that, it would have happened. Like, and that's crazy. Like to me to think about.
So to preface this, and now that we're in spoiler territory, the reason that the snake venom helps them remember is because on the island, how they're forgetting is that there's flowers that they grow on the island, and their essence or something about them uh makes you forget stuff. So they put it in
They're
their
making it
in their perfume that they gave them, that they put on every morning, and then that makes them forget. So it's kind of implied like it's like a animal, they
yeah.
developed an immunity to it, so their venom is kind of like a antidote for it.
Yeah, and there's like
And
like the other thing is like cuz we're talking about the perfume and everything, like the thing
yeah,
cuz like it's supposed to be this paradise, and it is. Like there's clothes laid out for them every morning and everything. But another thing that is also very well done is we see like until the later parts of the movie, it isn't until the later part of the movie that you realize you've only really seen this island from the girls' perspectives.
yeah,
Like, because, like, they're being wooed by the guys. It's the girls hanging out by the pool and all that stuff. And, like, the guys even leave to go on, like, this fishing trip thing or whatever. And, like, they're all having fun or whatever. And there's that moment after she drinks the venom where she's like, "Where's Jess?" And they're all like, "Who's Jess? Like, who's
yeah.
that?" It's like, my friend that she's been talking about this whole time. And the only reason why anyone else believes her is because that girl Sarah, the survivor lady, whatever, she finds in her pocket Jess's lighter. And Jess had put her name on it. Because it was a joke that throughout the whole movie was like, I'm gonna fucking put my name on that thing. And like, she finds it in her pocket. And so she brings it up to her. And like, even she hasn't had the snake venom yet or anything. But
Well, that's the
she's
only
starting to,
reason she bothered to hear her out, is because she said
yeah.
Jess, and there's Jess's name on the lighter. And then after that, she gives her the snake venom, and then she starts to remember.
Well, even before that, like, she starts to realize, like, oh, that's weird. And then I guess, like, she's like, I have this feeling that I'm having a good time, but I also have this feeling that I'm not. Like, that it's not fun. It's like, even before this even happens, like, the girl's freaking out. She doesn't understand what's going on. Frida's freaking out. And, like, she finds the knife. Like, the dude's knife. She finds that she had it hidden in her room.
So you get this as after she gets the snake venom, gets like a flash of like memory, and in that you see her friend Jess give her the knife from earlier, that guy's knife, and she says, "Hide this," and it's literally a split second. It says, "Hide this," and then when she's freaking out in the bathroom, remembering everything, she bangs on the mirror, and it drops out from behind the mirror, which connects back to the beginning because that's where she was hiding money in their apartment. She hid her money behind the mirror.
That's true.
Like, that's her go-to hide spot.
And then, like, I didn't even actually catch on that. But, like, I also, like, and the only reason I bring that up is because, like, the whole conversation that they're having, like, she's sitting there, like, holding the knife, talking to this girl that is hearing her out, because she sounded crazy originally, and the only reason why she doesn't sound completely insane is because she has proof that someone named Jess was here. And like, she's holding the knife, and she's like acting and looking like a crazy person. And like, after the girl like takes the snake venom, and she's talking about it, and she's like, wait, like, I was like, you guys are all friends, right? She's like, no, I only know this guy because he chatted me up and everything. And it's like, well, the other two girls, they know these guys, right? And they're like, no.
That's when they all realize that none of them actually know any of these people personally. Because it was kind of implied. It was kind of implied because, like, when they got Frida and Jess, and they were like, they were introducing, like, this is Tom, this is Brad, this is, Jenna, this is Sarah, and they're like, oh, hi, so like he was introducing them to everyone, so it's kind of like you kind of assumed that they were all friends and guys.
I'm actually just now realizing this because it was so subtle. He only introduces the guys. And the one girl.
He introduced the other girls. Nope, both girls. He introduced them.
I don't remember. Oh yeah, he did. You are correct. Never mind. I lied. I apologize. But like, even then,
literally everyone.
I apologize.
I don't remember any of their names.
No, I remember one of them was Camilla. Camilla, Sarah, Frida. The only one I don't remember is the Blunt Queen, because that's what she shall be known. Because she did have some fat fucking blunts. Holy shit. She had one that was literally, the end of it was the circumference of a quarter. Like, what the fuck? But anyway, back to the seriousness.
So let's get into the reveal of the main thing. So these guys have been using the memory erasing perfume to make the girls forget that every single night the guys will sexually abuse them.
Yes.
And physically abuse them as well. That's why they wake up with bruises and dirt under their nails and stuff like that.
And that's a super dark topic to tackle in a movie like this. Made even kind of more fucked up by the fact that the original title of this movie is Pussy Island.
Isaac, that's why they put the trigger warning at the beginning of the movie for an entire minute.
and all over the theater as well. Like it's on in the
Yeah.
theater as you walk in, like as a trigger warning, which I understand in today's like culture and everything. I don't
Today's
necessarily
culture.
like the trigger warning. Like I understand the need for it, but at the same time, like that prepped me. It gave me something
That's
about the movie.
exactly. It tells you something. It's like, oh, this movie contains, power dynamics and sexual abuse. And I'm like, but now I
Sexual violence.
fucking know what the fucking thing is. It's like
Yeah, that's
sexual
the annoying
violence
thing.
and taking advantage of women. And I'm like, you just said what the fucking thing is. Because I didn't know what it was. Maybe they were aliens harvesting little bits of their organs or
I thought
something,
it might have been
and
something
they were wiping their
supernatural or
minds.
something.
It could have been something supernatural. I was kind of hoping it was. Like maybe it was like blink twice. So like what I thought would be really cool if it was like the island was like some kind of supernatural thing that was kind of like shifting, like and it's literally like blink twice, like look again. Not like, oh, blink
Yeah.
twice if I'm in danger. I thought it was like blink twice, like look again. Like someone would have like a glass of like white wine, and then when they look over again, it's suddenly red, and they're like,
Like
wait,
continuity error
everything's
stuff.
changing.
Yeah.
Something's changing, right? And then the changes get too big, and it's like, where's my friend?
Yeah.
It's like she was in this room. What is it like Mandela effect the movie?
Yeah.
Like it could have been something like that. Like my mind to what the mystery was kind of open. Like I had a few
Yeah.
guesses, but it could have been anything. But then when they have the trigger warning like that, it's like, oh no, well they're just
That narrows it down specifically. Granted, the twist
exactly.
still got me. The twist still got me
Yeah,
as to what it was. Like, I don't want to say that that ruined it for me, but at the same time, it clued me in to, and it immediately erased a bunch of things out of my mind that what this movie could have
yeah,
been. There
yep,
is, I do have to say that, like, there is a scene in this movie, and honestly, it is pretty much the only scene that I could think of. Like the subject matter, whatever, but that scene on its own is the only one that I can think of that warrants that trigger warning.
yeah,
Viscerally, because it was kind of fucked. Like seeing them like tackling the girls, and like that was another thing that really like you start to see a lot in the movie, like the dresses that they lay out for them, and the reason they're designed that way is because the big ties in the back are used to restrain them and stuff like that.
hmm
Like they thought about a lot in this movie, and as well, tackling a subject matter like this is very delicate, and they did it in a way that I'm very grateful for, and that's they didn't
yeah.
make
Me,
it
me
where
too. I brought
all
that up.
where it is not all men are the
Yeah,
problem.
they got to play this topic out and this situation without diving into full misandry, which I
Yeah,
really give them credit for because as two straight guys, as two
yeah,
straight white guys,
yeah.
we were not personally attacked by this movie.
No, like,
'Cause
and
there's a
I
lot of movies where they're just like, "Ugh, hate all men. Ugh, hate all guys. They're all
this
terrible." And we're
movie.
just like, "Do you
Let's put it.
did you want me to watch this or not? Do
Let's
you
put it this
want me to
way.
pay for tickets?
This
You're just gonna
movie.
insult me the whole time." And it didn't
This
do
movie
that.
tackled this without making men, like any guy, normal guy who would go see this, feel guilty.
Yeah, no, it was literally just like these Hollywood elites. Like
Yeah.
it felt like Weinstein,
What's
which
even worse
everyone
is
can
like
kind of agree.
there are even like a moment where after she realizes like kind of what's going on and everything, like they freaking like she finds these pictures, and like there are pictures of other dudes, just random dudes besides these guys showing up to this island that both not only shows that this is a thing that other people show up, or that other people have been a part of this before.
Yeah,
Because
it's not
because
just his
originally,
island. It's been
or,
going on longer than you think.
yeah, see, we're not, because we were talking about this, and I originally read that as, oh, they're inviting other people here to abuse these people. But then you clued me in that it's more like, no, these guys are just the next people in line. These are just
Yeah,
the next
because
guys that are taking this over.
right, because to drop an even bigger reveal bomb on it earlier in the movie, Slater reveals that he's like, I don't remember the first 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I don't know. And then he reveals that his sister and him were both on that side. They were
Yeah.
both on the forgetting side, the abused side. And because one of the pictures is of him much younger, with like clean shaven, much younger than that, with one of the bags with the perfume. Well, not probably not perfume for guys. Maybe it's something else, like cologne, probably. But he was also being drugged to forget. So he was
That is,
most likely in this ring on that side, and then as the other guys got older or died off, like he's in that ring, he's in that group,
yeah.
even if it's on the
The,
bad side. As he gets to the top, the power gets transferred up to him, so now he's
yeah.
on the
That was an insane
domineering
reveal.
side
As
there.
well as speaking of the bags, I really liked the reveal because he tells her earlier in the movie like forgetting is a gift, and like it's not. Oh,
Yeah,
that's not only like
it's
like
literal.
philosophical. It was very literal. Like everything tied back, especially so. Before we get into the even bigger reveal in this movie, I do
Yeah.
want to talk about before we got that reveal, the action that happened in those scenes. Because they figured out a way, like they figured out the snake venom or whatever. The first chick took a hit. They're like, how are we gonna get these other girls to do this? And it's like tequila shots. Like so they got them to drink a bunch of
Tequila.
tequila. They even got like the lady that's been going around like she's kind of like seems like the
The assistant
organizer
to him.
or like his assistant
She's
or
his
whatever.
assistant, his
Yeah.
secretary.
And like they even got her to start drinking. And there's a moment when all of that when it kicks in for all the rest of them. And like they start freaking out and starting to attack the guys.
Yeah.
And holy shit was that good. Like one of them gets freaking stabbed through the hand by a corkscrew. The one guy gets his face bashed in by like the marble freaking chessboard. The one guy that just gets stabbed, like Haley Joel Osment, just gets stabbed repeatedly with a fucking ice pick.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
And they're all like fucking high or drunk, so they don't even see it coming.
Yeah. Like the guys don't even like they're expecting this to start getting to the part of the night where they can start doing the abuse shit and all that, and like all of a sudden the girls are turning on them. That's the whole point of it, is that the girls don't see it coming.
Yeah.
And like it's and then
I think it was handled very, very well. The whole, not only the movie, not only the topic, but the mystery. I think a lot of movies, when they try to do some kind of thing like that, like with the mystery and overarching, they drop the ball.
yeah.
It's either super obvious, or they don't fully commit to it,
Are
or they
so
reveal it way
complex
too
that
early.
you don't understand it.
Exactly. But with this, it was very, very complex, but every single thread had an ending. Like, literally, there would be points in the movie where they will just show you something, or, like, answer something for you, and you had completely even forgotten the question. So, like,
Yeah.
in the beginning, it starts off with, like, a little lizard, and it just, like, pulls out, like, the camera pulls out of his eye, and like that's just the opening shot. Nobody like opening shot is the number one thing that goes over people's heads. And then when you see the same exact lizard in context of what happened before, you it's like I had completely even forgot that anything about that lizard, and it comes back every time. Nothing was left undone.
There was another thing I wanted to bring up before, because there's only one more thing I want to bring up before we get to the big reveal, because that's really all that's left. Which is, it's crazy to say that there's an even bigger reveal than what we've already revealed.
Did we give them the big reveal? The even bigger reveal? I think that's probably best left unsaid and better experience than I would mean, leave that. I think it's better experience that. So even if we undo the big plot mystery, at least they could get something to blow their mind.
That's fair. Okay. But anyway, the other thing, to even further your point, like your thing, because like I was sitting there when we were talking about that, and I'm like, there are some people that are gonna dispute the whole like this gets passed on, like there's people that get indoctrinated into this kind of thing. That's disputed by the fact that like that's not disputed, that's further confirmed by the other guy that's on the island with them. Because like the guy like he wakes up and he has the black eye and he's like, I don't remember how I got this kind of thing, like because he's using the perfume to like that, and he ends up forgetting, and like he is not a part of this quite yet.
Like he's definitely fresh to it.
He's fresh to it. Yeah, like, that's what I mean.
I think they glossed over it pretty fast. They said why he doesn't remember, but they said it really fast and I didn't really catch it. It might have been because he accidentally used it, and maybe he's like,
purposefully
too fresh into it. They don't want him to remember yet. They don't want him to remember. Maybe he started protesting. Maybe he didn't want to do that. He's like, hey, you guys are crazy. I'm not down with this. So they've been doing that to him until he was ready to accept it. Like I didn't catch that. I'll have to watch it again. But
I think that they said like there's a moment where
I don't want to claim. I don't want to make any claims as to why yet, because
but like they even talked about a thing, because the guy's like freaking out because like all the girls are killing everybody. He's like, why are the girls angry or all that stuff, and like what's going on? And he's like don't worry, you didn't do anything. Like he tells him like you didn't do anything.
Yeah, he's like, he called him like a line sitter, like he's always not doing anything, and he like berated him for his like, there's a special place in hell for people who choose not to do anything. I'm like
you didn't pick a side of the line. Yeah, he's like you didn't pick a side of the line. You didn't do anything to help the girls, and you didn't do anything to hurt them. Like you just sat there and did nothing.
Yeah,
and like that's
true.
It's great. And then even worse is like he's like, oh, Mr. Nothing gonna do something, because like he hears the banging on the door and everything, trying to get in, and like he opens the door to like try and let the girl in or whatever, and is met by getting shot in the fucking face immediately.
Yep.
Like that's like this movie went so hard. Like it actually had a lot of really good action moments. It's a terrible choice of words, I'm just now realizing, for the subject matter of this movie. But a lot of this movie was done very, very beautifully, and I have to give credit where credit is due to Zoe Kravitz. Like the writer of this movie, she did a phenomenal job. No, like she did a very phenomenal job writing this, and there, as we've been talking about, there is a big another one, but like we're gonna hold that back.
Yeah, there's still another twist we haven't discussed.
Another big twist about the movie.
It really is best experienced through the movie.
Absolutely.
But I think that should push us straight into the rankings now.
Absolutely.
Isaac, if you want to lead us off once again.
Absolutely. So, reverse of the Crow with this. I had this starting at about a 7, and the more I thought on it, it actually bumped up a bit, and I'm putting this movie, at an 8. Originally, I was gonna put it at a 7, but I think this deserves an 8. Uh, it both just writing, like, solely for the fact of the way this movie was handled, bumps it up a whole number.
Yeah, it was handled very, very well. Um, I'm also gonna give this an 8, and there wasn't a doubt in my mind. Like as soon as we got out the theater, I put it at an 8, a very, very high 8. It's up at the top of the list. Um, this, I'm so glad that they finally figured out how to really, really, really do mysteries, because
Yes.
mysteries where it's just like you're looking for one answer, it's like you answer that and it's done, or like, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
it's if it's one thing, you only have one reveal. But with this,
Yes.
there's one main thing, there's like 5 or so big things, and then there's like 10 like little tiny almost insignificant things, and then when the first one clicks into place, the other ones follow in, and then like they rapid fire off all the little ones, so it just like all connects, like connect the dots in your head, and it's handled very, 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 very well, and I really love this. It's very good.
It absolutely is. And oh, I forgot about the entire other thing, because I meant to bring this up when you brought up the title of the movie, like when you were talking about it in
Yeah.
context of like the thing. The title card for this movie is so good.
Oh my god, that was done so perfectly. Oh, that was so good. When they did the title card,
Like, a
there's the
big
one
thing in
guy
the
with the
movie is they're
missing
taking
pinky. He's
Polaroids
got
constantly.
They're taking Polaroid pictures of everything, and then that's where a lot of reveals are led, is like through the memories, because like, you can't erase photos, so they find the photos and then do memories and stuff. So there's a guy taking pictures the whole time, and the very first picture that they take, like when they get to the island, he goes smile, and then in the camera flash, that's the title card. It says
Literally for a
blink twice,
split
and
second.
it's over in a single second.
Like, if you blinked, you
It's
would miss it.
it's if you, I think if you blinked for a moderately longer time than it takes to blink, it would be like if you went like that,
Yeah.
you would have missed it. Oh, that was awesome. It was so well done.
It was so
Uh,
well. There are so many other aspects of this movie that actually we haven't even touched on, as well.
yeah, there's
Like,
honestly there's too many to touch on. There's way too many to touch on. But we are running a bit overboard here, so I will roll this on out. Very good movie.
mhm.
Let us now turn to next time. What are we looking at in the next podcast here, Isaac?
So our next podcast should feature the new Beetlejuice movie, a movie called The Forge, and another one that was a movie called Stream, which has the producers behind the Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3 movie, along with our boy Howard Thornton, Art the Clown himself, and special effects by Damien Leone. This was one, like, we saw all that and we're like, we absolutely have to go see this movie, and we are going to. So this is going to be this next, look forward to the next one. It's going to be a very fun podcast, I think.
Cool. All right, guys. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, because we are now closer than ever to our 500 subscriber goal and our eventual 1,000 subscriber goal, where we can
Yes.
finally start getting paid for doing these, and we will be using that money to buy more tickets to send us back to the theaters to make more videos for you guys. Be sure to check out our Letterboxd accounts at Cinema Kellan and Regular Isaac. And until next time, guys, that's a wrap.
Roll credits.